This video is the third installment of this series where we discuss the development of Kazuha, Xinyan, Fischl, and Mona as individual characters and companions of each other. Also, how all this affected us as the players and the traveler. Today we continue our journey with Fischl. Fischl, the Princesen, Amy, whichever name it is, all names of the same tuning we all adore. It is all a matter of perspective you look at her. You look at her in the perspective of her parents, then she is Amy. If you take the perspective of her friends, she is Fischl, the adventurer. Then if you take the perspective of her imagination, she is the Princesen Rita, the ruler of Imanakrai. Please don't expect me to pronounce them correctly, my poor brain can't handle it. As with Xinyan's Mirage, Fischl's Mirage revolves around perspectives. So many perspective-related puzzles, I might just mistake it for subliminal. Fischl's domain was the creation of her imagination, her perspective. We enter the domain through a biography from the perspective of Oz about Fischl. The raven statue next to the book, that's Oz. The book is written by the very thing that her own imagination created. If you pay close attention to how the castles in Fischl's domain are placed, they all have one top and another top upside down. None of them have a bottom. They are never grounded. All of them are floating about, saying that none of them are grounded in reality. Also, that she is not just one person, Amy and the Princesen. Two personas, two perspectives come together to make one Fischl. It is a grand castle, but the skies are cracked. That imaginary castle Amy made when she was little in her own bubble had formed cracks. It's the same as Xinyan. Amy's parents didn't understand her perspective in this situation, so they shoved regular things like music at her. That did crack her made-up reality to some extent. Her parents entertained her when she was little with her theatrics, but they didn't for much longer. Like Kazuha and Xinyan, I was forced to go through a corridor of Fischl's memories. The strange thing here is that there was no exit, no entrance, a trap. Not a single door opened. I was just thrown there to listen to her world crumble before my eyes. Yes? Question mark? It did break her to some extent, and she stopped being Fischl for a while. As Leon said, Fischl stopped responding to her people while the evil dragon was attacking the castle. The evil dragon is the manifestation of everything that opposes her imagination, in this case, her family. Each volume of her book represents a different state of mind she went through, and closing that volume snaps you out of her fantasy into reality. It's a constant struggle between her fantasy and reality. Whose perspective should she take? The perspective of Princesen or Amy? In the first volume, she is still piecing her imaginary world together. She is putting things into place to her perspective, to show that the puzzles revolve around us putting things into perspective. Let it be bridges, stairs, or entire buildings, everything had to be moved around inside what is called the gaze of the deep and placed according to its perspective so we could travel through missing parts of the domain. Reaching the end of the volume and closing the book teleports into a time where Fischl was still little and starting to create her fantasy. Then she rejects reality altogether. The memory of the second volume shows her parents didn't entertain her fantasies anymore. This forced her to cave in and distance herself from reality. What she didn't see did not exist. But that is not reality. So she made everything that she could not ignore into an imaginary dragon. To represent this stage of her growing up, the puzzles revolving around this volume involve blocking off the problems with other objects, ignoring what cannot be seen and replacing reality with fantasy. It's messed up when you look at it from our perspective, ignoring problems you can't see. But this is about Amy's perspective. She created a reality for herself and wasn't ready to let it go. So she chose her imaginary world over reality. It is all a theatrical performance done by Amy, the puppet master behind everything that is Fischl. A child playing with her toy castle and figurines taken a step further. As we move forward to the third volume, the world of Fischl is much more confusing. I was not moving and fixing the perspective of things that already existed in her imagination. I was changing the perspective of outside influences themselves. The purple cubes are blockades in Fischl's path. They do not belong in her mirage. The cubes look out of place when you put them with other stuff in her castle. But as I move forward, the puzzle used those foreign objects to our advantage. They became a stepping stone. As Fischl grew, she learned to ignore criticism, use it to her advantage, and live life as she wanted. She adopted a new perspective involving both Fischls, who wanted to live out her fantasies and be a functioning member of the Adventurers Guild. Her domain challenges your courage. Are you willing to kill your character to get to the end of this story? Do you have what it takes to learn about Fischl? Of course, I'm going to jump because I know if I don't, I'm going nowhere. Also, I have a wing glider. These mirages are more than just a place to farm chests or a backdrop for the story. The mirages itself is a storyteller. The book of Princess Fischl may have inspired her, but it all started with her toy castle. The Princesen persona of Fischl is the physical representation of all that Amy rejected from her life to live in her fantasy. She is her, but what she fears the most about her. She is the ruler of her imagination. The moment Fischl turned around crying, I was like, no, I will not accept her crying. The Fischl I know is someone who is fascinating and has a creative and powerful imagination. She created her own paradise of her own volition. The Fischl that is crying here is not who she is. It was just a small hiccup. Fischl is who she is. Not even her own imagination can change that fact. The library where this all took place was where everything began. The library where Amy found the book of Princess Fischl. It all ends at the same place everything started. Amy embraced the Princesen and became Fischl once again. She understood that her flaws are hers and hers alone. She was already Fischl. But after meeting her dark side, she understood that she had already found herself long ago. As Oz said, it doesn't matter which Fischl's side he is. It will always be Fischl's side.
One stormy night, a girl found a way to the future in the library. She said to herself,
I shall create my dream kingdom. I'll carve mountains and oceans and erect castles and towns.
Then she spoke to those who shared her dream.
Please be proud of all that is unreal, for we are greater than this world. For our magnificent kingdom is a small and forbidden paradise.
In the end, it was a gigantic theatrical drama that ended. Fischl is a drama queen, and this is her biggest performance. The whole quest was the stage. The group who went inside her mirage were the actors. She was the main character who came at the last moment and saved the day. And I was her audience, and I went along with that roller coaster ride all the way through. It was all from the perspective of her drama. And this is a piece of my madness. I have waited too long to get this skin. Okay. Here we go. Claim. There you go. The dark side Fischl. Double Fischl, Amy, and Princesen. Okay, let's now equip it. Old Fischl, a real nice design. One of my favorite designs for a 4-star. And now, this Fischl. Switch.
Mine Ogd of Ertelung reveals unto me the fates of worlds too numerous to count.
A ceremonial outfit for Princesen. May she who is noble retain her courage, sincerely the kindness forever, such that no evil shall ever overcome her. Okay, that's kind of weird.
Universe and founded paradise. For I, Fischl,
Yeah,
and the Princess.
it's the same idle animations. Now we have the both Fischls and Oz. There you go. There's no new animations like the new deluxe skin, but it's a cool design. And you can see the two wings in the original Fischl's design. It's two like normal wings here. Now here it's like a demon wings, I guess, succubus wings. Look, it's like a starry pattern in the ribbons too. It has the same general sense, I guess, like the two flaps, like to say she's a bird, I think. Yeah, that's a cool design. Princesen and Amy. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Truth be told, to this day, Fischl is my only 4-star favorite character. It is so interesting to listen to her fantasies. It's really fascinating how these domains tell a story, but that doesn't make the characters any different than they used to be. If you like Fischl, smash that like button. Subscribing to the channel would be much appreciated. If you missed the last 2 videos on Kazuha and Xinyan, check this playlist. If you have, check this video out. This was Ekamin, as always. Thanks for watching, and until next time, let your imaginations run wild.